Chapter 10. Grace. 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you think we need to take home the book? You know, Exploring Guts, or whatever it's called, I asked Olivia, for the reading. Or can I leave it here? She shoved her locker shut, her arms full of books. She was wearing red reading glasses, complete with a chain on the earpieces so that she could hang them around her neck. On Olivia, the look, kind of worried, worked, in some sort of charming librarian way. It's a lot of reading. I'm bringing it. I reached back into my locker for the textbook. Behind us, the hall hummed with noise as students packed and headed home. All day long, I tried to work up the nerve to tell Olivia about the wolves. Normally, I wouldn't have had to think about it, but after our almost fight the day before, the moment hadn't seemed to come up. And now the day was over. I took a deep breath. I saw the wolves yesterday. Olivia paged idly through the book on top of her stack, not realizing how momentous my confession was. Which ones? The nasty she-wolf, the black one, and a new one. I debated again whether or not to tell her. She was way more interested in the wolves than Rachel was, and I didn't know who else to talk to. Even inside my head, the words sounded crazy. But since the evening before, the secret had surrounded me, tight around my chest and throat. I let the words spill out, my voice low. Olivia, this is going to sound stupid. The new wolf. I think something happened when the wolves attacked Jack. She stared at me. Jack Culpler, I said. I know who you meant. Olivia frowned at the front of her locker. She nodded her eyebrows, and they were making me regret starting the conversation. I sighed. I thought I saw him in the woods. Jack. I hesitated. Wolf? Olivia clicked her heels together. I'd never known anyone who actually do that outside the Wizard of Oz, and spun on them to face me with her raised eyebrow. You're crazy. I could barely hear her over the students pressed all around us in the hall. I mean, it's a nice fantasy. I can see why you'd want to believe in it, but you're crazy. Sorry. I leaned in close, although the hall was so loud that even I had to struggle to hear our conversation. Olive. I know what I saw. They were Jack's eyes. It was his voice. Of course, her doubt made me doubt, but I wasn't about to admit that. I think the wolves turned him into one of them. Wait, what do you mean? About me wanting to believe it? Olivia gave me a look before setting off towards our homeroom. Grace, seriously, don't you think I know what this is about? What's this about? She answered with another question. Are they all werewolves then? What? The whole pack? I don't know. I didn't think about that. It hadn't occurred to me. It should have, but it hadn't. It was impossible. That those long absences were because my wolf vanished into human form? The idea was immediately unbearable, only because I wanted it to be true so badly that it hurt. Yeah, sure you didn't. Don't think this obsession is getting kind of creepy, Grace? My reply sounded more defensive than I meant it to. I'm not obsessed. Students shot annoyed looks at us as Olivia stopped in the hall and put a finger on her chin. It's all you ever think about, all you talk about, and all you want us to talk about. What in the world would we call something like that? Oh yeah, an obsession. I'm just interested, I snapped. And I thought you were too. I am interested in them. Just not like all-consuming, involving, whatever. Interested. I don't fantasize about being one. Her eyes were narrowed behind her reading glasses. We're not 13 anymore, but you haven't seemed to figure that out yet. I didn't say anything. All I could think was that she was being tremendously unfair. But I didn't feel like telling her that, and I didn't want her to say anything. I wanted to walk away and leave her standing there in the hallway, but I didn't. Instead, I kept my voice super flat and even. Sorry to have bored you for so long. Must have killed you to look entertained. Olivia grimaced. Seriously, Grace, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but you're being impossible. No, you're just telling me that I'm creepy and obsessed with something that's important to me. That's very... The word I wanted took too long to surface in my head and ruin the effect. Phobic of you. Thanks for your help. Oh, grow up, snapped Olivia, and pushed around me. The hallway seemed too quiet after she'd gone, and my cheeks felt hot. Instead of heading home, I trailed back into my empty homeroom, flopped into a chair, and put my head in my hands. I couldn't remember the last time I'd fought with Olivia. I'd look at every photograph she'd taken. I'd listen to her countless rants about her family and the pressure to perform. She owed it to me to at least hear me out. My thoughts were cut short by the sound of cork heels squelching into the room. The scent of expensive perfume hit me a second before I lifted my eyes to Isabel Coupler standing over my desk. I heard that you guys were talking about the wolves yesterday with that cop. Isabel's voice was pleasant, but the expression in her eyes belied her tone. The sympathy conjured up by her presence vanished at her words. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm assuming you're innocently misfortuned and not out and out retarded. I heard you're telling people that the wolves aren't a problem. You must have not heard the news flash. Those animals killed my brother. I'm sorry about Jack, I said, automatically, wanting to jump to my wolf's defense. For a second, I thought about Jack's eyes and what a revelation looked like that they might mean to Isabel, but I discounted the idea almost immediately. If Olivia thought I was crazy for believing in werewolves, Isabel would probably be on the phone to a local mental institution before I could even finish up a sentence. Shut up, Isabel interrupted my thoughts. I know you're about to tell me the wolves aren't dangerous. Well, obviously they are, and obviously someone's going to have to do something about that. My mind flicked to the conversation in the classroom. Tom Coupler and her stuffed animals. I imagined my wolf, stuffed, and glassy-eyed. You don't know the wolves did it. He could have been... I stopped. I knew the wolves had done it. Look, something went really wrong, but it could have just been one wolf. The odds are the rest of the pack had nothing to do with it. How beautifully objective it is, Isabel snapped. She just looked at me for a long moment, enough for me to wonder what she was thinking, and then she said, Seriously, just get the last of your piece wolf love done, because they won't be around much longer, whether you like it or not. My voice was tight. Why are you telling me this? I'm sick of you telling people they're harmless. They killed him. But you know what? It's not over. Today.